Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yuri Folari. Yesterday, big news, arguably, for the country, indeed, and especially the petroleum sector, when the NNPC that we have all known transformed. NNPC, used to be a corporation, but as of the adjustment, it is now the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and it will be overseen by a KAMA, just like any other public company. And my guest this morning is Engineer Bala Zakka, oil and gas expert. Thank you, as always, Bala, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, sir. It's always our pleasure. I was saying to myself when I knew you were coming that Bala is going to be happy about it because he's long been campaigning. But I hope I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But when I was speaking with Bala just before coming on air, it would appear that it's not yet Uhuru from his point of view, and he'll explain that to us. But let me say first of all that, look, there's so many things to talk about, but one of the things I noted is that Nigeria, being the biggest oil supplier, is it in Africa, or if not in West Africa?
In Africa.
In Africa. And, we have reserves, yet investments, inflow of investments into Africa, something in the region of maybe 4 to 7% only came to Nigeria.
Even worse.
It may be even worse. And one begins to wonder, but I was then encouraged when I was hearing that now, as a result of this transformation, investors, assets, funds are now protected. So that kind of thing we used to know before, where you never know the Nigerian terrain, the Nigerian business terrain, that is all gone forever. But it's that's my bit. Now I'm going to listen to you and say, why do you not think this is a momentous occasion, and that things have changed radically from how they used to be?
I wouldn't want to say it is not a momentous occasion.
Okay.
But you see, Nigeria is not new to me. I'm in my 50s now. So Nigeria is not new to me. I've been a Nigerian in the past 5 decades. So Nigeria is not new to me.
Are you saying things like we've been there, we've done that, we've heard this before?
The explanation will come straight away. In 1914, we had that there was an amalgamation. Different components came, and finally there was a Nigeria, right? Northern and Southern Protectorate or whatever. But before the amalgamation, there were expectations. There were positivities. There was a plan unveiling of the amalgamation. After the amalgamation, what happens? Activities took place, right? Before 1st of October 1960, there was an expectation. There were speeches, Nigeria was going to be given birth to. So you could imagine the kind of expectation.
It was a period of great optimism.
Great optimism. After that, what happened? In 1999, there were parties, celebrations everywhere that we're going to go finally into democracy. We will kick out military dictatorship. What eventually happened is the same thing now, but even the context we're talking about now is even called a rebirth. A rebirth means the child or the candidate existed. So maybe what was happening was not good, or things that were being seen. So there is a need for cleansing. So what actually happened yesterday was the unveiling after the cleansing of an NNPC. But fundamentally, graduating or metamorphosing or changing from a national corporation to a limited liability company. Because what happened yesterday was the changing from Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. So as far as I'm concerned,
that's a good thing. Because now, unlike before, the accounts can be audited. Must not be can be. Must be audited.
That's just where I'm heading to.
Okay.
But you know, before now, whenever you talk about economic public sector restructuring mechanisms, I've always talked about privatization. You can privatize public sectors and get the best. You can commercialize them and get the best. You can deregulate them and get the best. You can liberalize them and get the best. What happened yesterday was commercialization. Not liberalization, not deregulation, not privatization. What happened yesterday was commercialization of NNPC. And by that...
You know, that word you use, sorry to interrupt you, that word you used in there, because the other part of our caption is appropriate pricing. We're going to come there.
No, we'll get there.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
Because one was optimistic that all of this would lead to...
We will get there. So what happened yesterday was not privatization. It wasn't liberalization. It wasn't deregulation. It was commercialization. And when you talk about commercialization of a public entity, public entity is an entity that is owned by national government or governments of country. It simply means now that entity will have what we call a cost center and a profit center. And it's expected to be transparent and accountable in addition to other attributes or characteristics that will be expected. But fundamentally, that name, Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, makes it now to operate under the Company and Allied Matters Act called CAMA.
Which is a good thing.
Which is fantastic. But because it is still going to be called Nigerian National, no private entity has the right. You can never put Nigeria National Yori something limited. Once you say Nigeria National, it largely says you are still government owned.
But shares are going to be sold to the public, we've been hearing, in 2004. At the moment, the only shareholders we hear will be government entities.
That is why we are dissecting and we need to talk, because in the last 72 hours, even our economic and political leaders have demonstrated some level of ignorance and confusion.
How do you mean?
That's why I want to explain.
Okay.
You know, when you say it is now Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, it simply means some of the activities it is supposed to operate like a private company. First of all, because when you are talking about accountability and transparency, private companies in accounting operate under what we call International Financial Reporting Standard, IFRS. Then public entities globally, not only in the context of Nigeria, operate under what we call IPSAS, International, International Public Sector Accounting Standards. And when you talk about their reporting for public entities, they use what we call cash basis. So all your transactions must show cash inflows and outflows. But for private entities, they use what we call accrual basis. Meaning if I go into transactions with you, I can recognize my revenue even if you have not given me any cash. And I can also post my expenses. But the fundamental thing is this: if you are called a private entity, your financial statements must be a public document. You must be audited.
If you
are supposed to be filing returns.
All of which the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited will be subject to now.
Will be subjected to now. Then, but this is where the area of the confusion and ignorance was also displayed.
How?
You know, in the last maybe 3 days ago, when the then group managing director of NNPC and now chief executive officer of NNPC Limited was talking, he said probably in the next 1 year, there is going to be what we call an IPO, initial public offer, meaning individuals could go in. But as of today, some people were trying to clarify that, hey, everything about NNPC, even the shareholding, will be for Nigerians under an NNPC incorporated joint venture or Ministry of Finance incorporated venture or joint or whatever. Meaning that you and I as individuals.
So Bala Zakka as an individual cannot ask for 1,000 shares.
And that was why we said the confusion and ignorance will need to be addressed. Just like when the PIA, after talking, and they passed the PIB, it became a PIA. Amongst them again, there was confusion. Why should this be this? Why should... So what that is pointing to is sometimes at the level of leadership, you know, what we do, we as citizens, let me define even leaders. Leaders are people that citizens have collectively agreed, in this case, maybe through election or selection or whatever, accepted to hand over our economic, political, and social destinies into their hands to manage for us in our interest and in national interest. And to that extent, whenever they want to come out and make pronouncements, please let there be reconciliation, understanding, and resonance in what they will tell us. We don't want a situation where this person will say this, then by the time you say something, maybe somebody from the legislature or somebody from a committee will say, no, this was what we meant. Okay. Meanwhile, somebody else said what. So we're already beginning to see all these things coming out. But in the course of time, our belief is some of this confusion will be ironed out.
Indeed, because the president's words, and let me quote him verbatim, we are transforming our petroleum industry to strengthen the growth today, July 19, 2022. So that there's an admission in there that it's not at the most efficient level, but by the acts, you know, that was being celebrated yesterday. Now, says Mr. President Buhari, the growth of the sector will be strengthened. Surely you can see that.
That was why I said what is happening now is not deregulation. It's commercialization. And to me, I have never supported deregulation. You knew it. Mm-hmm. When people were talking about deregulation of the price of distillates or refined petroleum products, they were making noise everywhere. The only product that is yet to be deregulated, whose price is yet to be deregulated, is just petrol. We have deregulated the price of kerosene. We have deregulated the price of diesel. We have deregulated the price of aviation fuel. Please, I am begging any Nigerian, because we are talking now as members of the same family. Mm-hmm. Before the campaign and whatever for deregulation, the plan was savings were going to be used for infrastructures. I am begging anybody to show me, because the price of diesel then jumped from either 87 naira or 80 something naira to 120. That was the beginning. I stand to be corrected. Mm-hmm. Today it is approaching 800. Please, I am begging, because we were made to understand that appropriate and competitive pricing was what was needed. Yeah. And if that it was deregulated, we were going to see investors and investment. Mm-hmm. From that time to now, let anybody show me one investor that has come in because they are now happy that the price of diesel is about 700, because they said it's the price that was discouraging investors. Personally, what has happened to the price of the deregulated price of diesel is basically the collapse of strategic industrial sectors, strategic commercial sectors like your organization, banks and the rest, and strategic domestic sectors, those that are involved in activities that have to do with feeding. They are collapsing because they cannot break even. What we have also noticed is that apart from their inability to break even, they are also not able to retain staff.
Okay, one moment please, Bala. Let's hear from our viewers and look at the extent to which they also understand, or how they understand the momentous event.
It's a national discourse.
Good morning. I think, is it Izzy that we have on? Good morning. Izzy calling in from Bielsa. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you very much.
The program is interesting and the topic for the next moment. The fact is that it's a very sad story. Because of our political sojourn, economic emancipation, we are still battling to settle the issues. As I speak with you today, the 4 refineries are not working. They are doing turnaround maintenance, but we all know what is happening there. My NGO has taken a toll
I'm
on those
trying to find out what is
refineries.
happening because the volume has just gone down, down, down.
The fundamental issue of this country today, we know the importance of fuel, petroleum products to our economy. It's used for transportation to transport goods and services. It's used for means of transportation, fueling our generators and others. So if today we are unveiling NNPC, it's like turning a new wine, I say, into an old bottle. If you look at the capacity there, they're still working with their old staffs. We are still working with the old management. Malakiari is still the CEO of that company. So how is it a new company? And when you want to talk that Nigerians own the share, who own the share in the company that was not invited to come and buy stocks or buy shares from, and just sitting back. It's a sad development. This country will keep ourselves all the time. We're talking about a country where over 13 million children are out of school. We're talking about a country that's the poverty capital of the world. We're talking about a country where today, as I speak with you, it's so sad that Nigeria is about the 10th most inflation-driven economy. Yes, the managers, the leaders of this economy cannot sit down and think outside the box and do things that will not cause. As your friend is saying there, the expert in the studio there, whether you like it or not, you look at NNPC today, no company in Nigeria can bear the name Nigeria National or whatever. Once you put Nigeria, you put National, CNC will not approve it. But look at what they're doing because they are government officials. They allow these things fly and put us in the box and put us in the dark. How can we continue to run this country in a trajectory that's not moving forward? And yes, the future generation are watching. As I'm speaking with you, so our children are at home for over 5 months. Government is not for that. But when it was time that the aviation workers wanted to go on strike, your Uncle Yori saw what that happened. Within 2-3 days, that matter was resolved because it affects them. Most of their children school abroad. How can we continue this country like that?
Thank you for calling in, Izzy. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate you. Didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to make room in case a lot of other people wanted to call in.
I think, you see, that is one, if I would not appreciate our democracy, though we went into democracy, refineries are not working, ASU is on strike, there are no hospitals. But if there is anything I appreciate about our being in democracy, is the opportunity for the last speaker to air out his feelings and concerns. And in national interest, we always discuss them. Because I was analyzing deregulation. I was happy we decided to deregulate in stages. You know, after doing what we did to diesel, you can see clearly and quote me
Diesel
that I said company income tax will go down this year. Personal income tax will go down because entities are not breaking even. People are being fired. So if you are firing staff, there will be no personal income tax.
One second, please. You said kerosene, diesel,
yes,
those have been deregulated.
Yes.
But for PMS, that is what we put in our cars.
Yes.
That one,
no,
they still left that.
So what people like me are saying is this: for those proponents of let us deregulate the price of petrol, why not show us one thing that we have benefited from by deregulating the price of kerosene or the price of aviation fuel or diesel? I had wanted some people to come and show me and said, okay, because we deregulated the price of kerosene, diesel and aviation fuel, that was why we were able to construct this number of hospitals. That was why we were able to upgrade our universities. That was why we were able to have so many good roads.
So it hasn't worked like that.
So
if
everything about that is zero, the only product that is remaining, some people are now saying if you don't deregulate the price of that, then Nigeria will collapse. Meanwhile, if you try deregulating the price of petrol, quote me, a sachet of pure water in less than few months will get to like 100 naira or more. Is that the kind of economy we want?
Okay. Emmanuel in Otukpo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to your guest.
Indeed. Go ahead,
Thank God
please.
we have changed the name of NNPC. So, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Greetings, your guests.
We heard you.
We have changed the name of NNPC to Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited.
That's right.
It's just like giving a new name. It is old wine it is old wine in new wine skin. I don't expect any serious changes here. Now, this is a refinery that has been consuming our money from eternity. Now, turnaround maintenance, it is everything about NNPC is corruption. How can we trust what is happening now? Since 1919, we have been hearing about Dangote refinery that will come on board. 2019 was approaching, shifted to 2020, shifted to 2021. It shifted to 2022 around July this year. Now we are hearing that it will be mid next year. That is now June 2023. All these things are being done to favor Dangote refinery. That is what they are doing.
Okay, well,
So,
thank you very much for calling
one-
in. As I said, I want to make room for as many companies as possible.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
many callers as
You
possible.
know, regardless of all the technicalities that we are going to talk, at the end of the day, we need to talk about the basics. The summary is that in the last 32 years, maybe from 1990 to date, the current generation of Nigerian leaders didn't deem it fit to maintain the 4 refineries that they inherited. And even when we went into democracy 23 years ago, the vibrant democratic leaders that we thought were going to put us on the right pedestal didn't deem it fit to construct additional refineries. And you're talking about a country today of about 200 million citizens relying on less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity. We do not need anybody to tell us that.
And then the whole Dangote refinery issue came on board.
No, the Dangote
of
is...
which NNPC are here. In fact, the MD, actually spoke to us.
Yes.
Everybody knows. It has a 20% share in that.
You know what we really want as Nigerians is this. We will always be grateful if individual Nigerians make exploits. I'll be happy if we have a Dangote in health. If we have a Dangote, what I mean by Dangote, not the specific Dangote, but we have a Dangote in education.
Yes.
We have, because
not necessarily same
but because
name.
If you go to a place like US, Donald Trump is a successful American billionaire. Bill Gates is, Warren Buffett. So as individuals, as citizens of the United States, you see the government protecting them. So if we have so many Nigerians doing well, we will be very happy because, first of all, they will employ our citizens. They will comply with their civic responsibilities of paying taxes and levies. But fundamentally, Nigeria as a country, has citizens that her leaders, political and economic leaders, need to provide goods and services.
Okay, one moment, please. Good morning, Mr. Yakub. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Very good morning, sir. And then Engineer Saka, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
I just want to say that I totally agree with Mr. Bala Zakka because basically the diesel, the kerosene, the aviation fuels and all that has been deregulated all this while. As your guest said earlier, I think the government need to come out and let us know where they put all those into. That is number one. Number two, I want to ask Mr. Saka, because I know you are very knowledgeable concerning this energy country. And then anytime you come to this morning, you always educate some of us that other citizens of this country listen to you. Have you ever put a write-up and sent to the government and do the follow-up? Because I wonder why are they not listening to your analysis or something? Because I don't know why if truly they are listening to you. How come they are not picking some certain things, your knowledge, and make use of it so that this country will be better for it? So that we all be able to better for this kind of a thing. Now, everybody come to this studio. Now, make sure that they were saying that it is a new in a whole bottle, so to say. So how are we going to change this narrative? So that is my question to Mr. Bala Zakka. Maybe you can give us answer to that. Have you ever read Thank you, God bless you, sir.
Mr. Yakub, it's been quite a while. Thank you very much for calling in. But in fact, I think very shortly I'm going to have to go on a break. But
quickly,
yes.
To be honest, the continent of Africa has been looking up to Nigeria to provide the leadership. And that is why, personally, somebody like me, I will say, even with this African Continental Free Trade Area understanding, if Nigeria continues to have a mind of docility, those other countries are free to overtake us. The reason why we are saying this, sir, is very, very simple. We try to listen to multilateral organizations and finance organizations, and the truth is this: their problems are different from our problems. Recently, I was involved in a major discussion with a representative of an international financial institution in Nigeria. Do you know what the person said? The person said, even if we refine internally, that even if Nigeria refine internally, the best she can get, or the profit she can make per liter is just 5 naira. I said, oh, so we can even make 5 naira. Okay, assuming, as they are saying, we import 100 million liters per day, and if we can be making a profit of 5 naira per liter, that means in a day, we will make a profit of 500 million naira. Multiply that by the savings in a week. Multiply that by the savings in a month. Multiply that by the savings in a year.
Even if that were possible.
Meanwhile, if we were to be refining internally, you will not believe it. We will be making a savings of more than 100 naira per liter. You see,
this is based on the figures that
I can analyze it. And that is why till tomorrow I feel sad. One of the closest friends of Mr. President left earlier than necessary, Professor Tam David West. Okay. That analysis he did, people thought was not correct. I can tell you that analysis is still possible. Even now that we are speaking of all the oil-producing nations, this is the time they are all celebrating. The only reason why we are not celebrating is not because we don't have the local product, but it's because we send it out to countries that do not have this crude oil, but they have the refineries, and they will buy that at international price. They will refine it at international price and sell it to us at international price. But if our refineries were to work, let me tell you, the crude oil for local consumption is never priced at international price, because it's for local consumption to grow the internal human capital.
In the meantime, Ada in Jos has called in. Good morning to you, Ada. Weigh in then.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Ayoya, and good morning, Engineer Bala. I like listening to him. There was a time he came on the program and he told us about modular refineries. It was like, wow, for me. A lot of things he told us about it. I have this impression that you want to have a modular refinery to refine crude and all that. So he let us know that it doesn't make sense. Okay, now having said that, this NNPC thing they're talking about, Mr. to be frank, I'm not excited. It's just, for me, it's just like a change of name. Then, okay, if they're having it, why do we still have the Minister of Petroleum? Why are we still having a Minister of Petroleum? Or will that change with time? So it's just like, as he said, it's just like the whole thing is just a government thing, and then it's commercialized, And then I agree with him. We regulated diesel, kerosene, aviation fuel, and yet the price are on the increase. So I think that the major problem we have in Nigeria is not even this deregulation. The problem is, so long as our refineries are not working, refineries were refining now, even with the Russian to Ukraine problem, so it's not something to be happy about. Many people who are refining are smiling to the bank, but it's a cost on us, because as soon as the price rises there, our own becomes a problem. And again, another problem is our borders. If provided they don't remove that subsidy, and the price differential is so much, we cannot do anything about it. They're going to smuggle. Even people at the helm of affairs, we have their people in the process of smuggling fuel to the neighboring countries. Because of that price differential, there's that temptation there. That's the issue. So I don't know. Now, I don't know, in the NNPC, the mega stations here, they are selling around the 179 now. And so what are we talking about? Is it that they are gradually in the subsidy or what? Or is it the government has decided to turn their face away? Because they don't know that price has changed. I don't really know what is going on in Nigeria.
Indeed.
All I know is that...
Thank you very much, Ada, for calling in. In that regard, to just quickly address that thing that Ada said, and somebody else had also observed that 179 from 165, the authorities were saying that nobody has been granted the permission to adjust their meters. It is still officially 165.
Okay, but the very simple question you are going to ask now, within their conscience and their even jurisdictional powers, have you seen the authorities going to shut down any filling station?
Not really.
They cannot, because something is wrong. There is a disequilibrium in even their model. But you see, the answers are still very straightforward, and that is why we are discussing here, sir.
Let me tell you the trajectory I'd like you, if you will, to favor us with. You are underwhelmed, not to say
but I'm
critical,
not surprised.
Not to say critical by this change. I wanted to ask you, there must be positives in the work that has been done, that the president unveiled yesterday. Are there any? What would you, no matter how few, there must be some positives to this.
The positives are just two, if you ask me.
Okay.
One, the president was telling us his expectations. Happy expectation, just like when we went into democracy.
Optimistic expectation.
Optimistic expectation. Just like when we went into independence, we became an independent country. We saw some of our parents with the flags going up. Yes, the leaders at that time, they will say what they wanted to see or what they had in mind. But within the dynamics, are those the things playing out? Because as I speak to you right now, regardless of what we are talking about, the country, this is my advice, and that's why I said, it is my own, quote me, and it's my statement. We must not accept lack of electricity as a new normal in Nigeria. We must not accept insecurity and killing of our farmers and making our farmers to be paying toll to bandits as a new normal. We as Nigeria must not accept importation of refined petroleum product as a way of life. Because every time I even hear people talking, both among the citizens and amongst our leaders, all they will be talking is, okay, landing cost is this, vessel is this, let's see how we can clean out all the corruption. So if you're talking about landing, that means we are accepting that we are going to continue to rely on importation.
Mr. George in
must
Ikeja.
Not be.
Good morning, Mr. George. Mr. George in Ikeja. Good morning, sir.
Hello, Uncle Yori, can you hear me? I'm just hearing you faintly.
Thank you very much. I don't know why. The same thing happening to me. But yes, I just managed to hear you. Please carry on.
Okay, thank you. Uncle Yori, you see, good morning to Engineer Bala.
Morning, sir.
The reason why you see people are not excited about this NNPC new name is because it is not about name. It is about what it brings to the table. So look at it. The day the name was being changed was the day the price of petrol that people consume was increasing. So how do you expect people to be excited about it? The truth is that governments all over the world exist to make life easy for the citizens. If we are paying more for something that comes from our country, it cannot make people happy. Kerosene is supposed to be meant for poor people.
Yes.
But they are buying it at 800 naira per liter. How many poor people can buy it at that rate to cook? And Bala is asking a very critical question that nobody has answered it. That the reason I was given for this deregulation was because it will bring money for other infrastructural development. Where is the infrastructure that the money realized from that deregulation has been used for? It cannot be seen. That is to say, we are taking the wrong step. Let us fix our refineries. The president talked about it before he came to power. 7 years have gone. If he had decided to fix just one out of the 4 refineries, we won't be at the same level we are now. I'm hoping that whoever comes to power in the next dispensation will give this matter a serious attention.
Okay.
If we have oil, we should enjoy it.
Yeah.
Nothing happens by chance.
Yeah.
We don't have light. We are suffering in the midst of plenty. That is just the truth of the matter.
Thank you very much for
people
calling
cannot
in,
be happy
Mr.
with
George.
it.
Appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in. That's a very important point. And when people are saying that they're underwhelmed, it's because you've pointed out things like, where is the income derivable
from the
all
other
of this?
products you've deregulated? But let
yes.
me even quickly say something that I wanted to say, but I forgot. It's just like when I hear people saying the quantity of petrol that we consume now has increased, and people are surprised. For me personally, I'm not surprised, and let me tell you why. But when you talk to our leaders, they say it is increased because most of the time some are stolen, smuggled outside the country. People with many cars are using them to watch Big Brother Niger and the rest, and they have run out of options of misstatements, or I don't want to say lies, but they have run out of options. Sometimes they will say it's because of Corona. But the truth is this, sir, the reason why the quantity of petrol requirement is high now is because many people are now using generators. People cannot afford diesel. There is no electricity. We know what's happening to the national grid. So the only way the barber can survive, the only way the doctor with the small hospital can survive, the hairdresser can survive, is to go and use petrol to run their diesel petrol generator. And let me tell you one thing, a lot of people know, and that is clear. You go to some areas today, personally, I can buy 25 liters of petrol in my car and use it for 2 or even 3 weeks because there are no places to go. But the same 25 liters, if I buy it, by this time, by tomorrow's evening, it will be gone. All these places you go, you see light, places looking lit. They are using petrol.
Yeah.
So from now onward, please let nobody be thinking we don't require the quantity. But the unfortunate thing is this. All these quantities are here. It is only in Nigeria that I cannot understand why we will not get the crude oil within Nigeria in Naira. Move them to our refineries in Naira. Refine them in Naira. Generate our Naira. Consume our Naira. Then free ourselves from exchange rate pressures.
Okay.
Just imagine those refiners that are selling diesel, petrol, kerosene, and even cooking gas to us. Just imagine the millions they are making.
And all of these prices are going up.
Exactly.
Prices are going up.
But that person that is selling petrol to us, 70 million liters, you can imagine how much that refiner is making and the job those refiners are creating for their citizens.
Okay, let me bring in Bobby. Bobby in Taraba State. Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, you see, the problem is a whole lot of Nigerians, especially people like me and many others, will never get this thing right. They might actually take it in a different shape that the government, the president, is trying to deceive them. It's actually for 2 reasons. Now, the first reason is the high cost of fuel that is going on in this country is unacceptable. And people are always talking about that. The government always keeps promising people that things are going to change. Now, the most important thing is for the government now is to actually address the situation. A whole lot of people in Nigeria don't even know what is the content or what is the profit behind what actually happened yesterday in Abuja. People are angry. The country is boiling. I believe if the government will come in with an attitude of inflation that would actually make Nigerians believe on the first topic that had actually come about this change of name or change about NNPC, then people will accept it. But on a serious note, Uncle Yori, a whole lot of Nigerians are pissed off. They are annoyed. I don't know how they're going to convince people because a whole lot of people actually feel that it's time for politics, so they actually want to shift away from things like insecurity, ASU strike, and whatever. It's just terrible. I hope these things, they are going to get it right this time around so that it will put smile on the faces of Nigerians. A great topic you're having today. God bless you and God bless everybody around you in TVC, sir. Thank you for good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Bobby. The other thing, of course, is the insecurity in the land. Banditry, terrorism, and all of that going on. Surely all of this will be affecting our production.
Straight away.
All
In
of
fact,
this is affecting our production.
when there are only 2 ingredients, primary, so that people will know that I know there are, we have others. The primary ingredients or variables that you require to grow nations and economies are 2. The first one is security. Then the second one is energy, not road or hospital. And let me explain them. Uncle Yori, if you have security today, the first thing that will happen is that your country will be seen as a peaceful investment destination. Farmers will go to the farms, and there will be what we call boosting of food security. If you have peace, people will trust themselves. People will be commuting across different parts of the country. As I speak to you today, there are some businessmen. If you come to buy products and you say, please send these goods, whether clothes or food or whatever, to my place in Kaduna, Sokoto, they will not go. They will rather look for a way to send it. And if you ask them why, they say because there is insecurity. So once you have problems with insecurity, 1,001 things will go wrong. I always give an example. I said, go to the northern part of Nigeria and see the many youths, thousands and millions of youths that wake up from morning till evening and they cannot go to farms because they are afraid of being killed. Just assume we have 1 million able-bodied youths, and each of those youths can cultivate maybe 10 ridges of harvest. But because of insecurity, we are losing 10 ridges multiplied by 1 million production capacity of those youths. Is that not going to affect food security?
Okay.
Then in terms of energy, the first thing you require is energy. So when I hear people say, remove subsidy so that you build hospitals, you build schools, if you build the hospitals today, you build the labs, you build the schools, and there is no electricity, there is no energy.
What work can you do there?
Exactly, it becomes useless.
Reverend Dominic, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to my friend, Dr. Bala, in your studio.
I hail you, sir.
But I don't bother myself again about what this government do. The reason is this. When we fought to bring this
You can't give up hope, Reverend Dominic. You can't give up hope now.
No, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. What I'm trying to say, it doesn't make sense to me again. Because when we brought this government into power, one thing we noticed that cost pain in energy, in education, in communication, is corruption. But this government has promoted corruption beyond what we can call corruption. The 2 men we put into prison before, costing the money, they want to release them. So what will you do? Corruption is like a foundation of a house, Yuri. If the foundation is not strong, there's nothing you can put on it.
But Dominic, they say this transformation is to address or replace the former corruption-ridden NNPC. Now, Nigeria will be seen as a safe, calm investment destination.
I hear you. Let me divert and go where you're going. Listen to me. A friend called me yesterday. Bala may know that friend. He lives in America. He asked me, now you have made a man who imported toxic fuel into Nigeria, the former chairman of NNPC. This man is incompetent. Now you transform a company and make an incompetent man CEO. How will you change his code overnight? This is a man who imports toxic fuel that day and use how many million naira to correct the import in toxic fuel. In the other nation, we sack him for incompetency. Rather, you promote him to become CEO of a multinational company. Let me tell you, Yori, the NNPC is like the heartbeat of this nation. NNPC is like blood running a human life in this nation. If the corrupt people are managing it, what are we going to get? I'm not moved by all these things. My challenge is this, that I have not also seen, like tomorrow. If other government is coming by tomorrow and say, well, this is not good, this is not bad. But the 2 days have not told us if there's a few refinery, if they can change the situation. So it's a hopeless issue.
Okay,
well, we got on our side.
Thank you for contributing your perspective, Reverend Dominic. You know, Bala, just like a flash, our time is almost up. But you were going to address the question of, no matter how minuscule, there must be some good to this initiative. As the president was saying, fortune or fate has thrown him into particular junctures in trying to reform Nigeria. The positives. I wanted you to talk to me about the positives.
I think the positives.
You said apart from the optimistic expectation of the president.
I think the positives also can be seen from another direction. I think something tells me, to be honest, I've never had anything to do with politics in my life. I've never worked for government for even one day. I was never even, I didn't enjoy a scholarship from Nigerian government. I enjoyed scholarship from private companies. Honestly, something tells me that the advisors and the technical assistants of our leaders are probably not telling them the truth. Something tells me that. Because there is no way you will see probably wanton killings. You will see deprivations. You will see business climate hostilities. And you will tell me that the president knows that there is this level of hostility. The president knows that there is this level of carnage on the roads, kidnapping. There is this level of collapse in drilling activities, and the president will just sit down and look at it like that, and not that the president is sick, not that the president is senile.
You blame a large part of it on the advisors.
The advisors.
Let me squeeze in the last caller. Our last caller, Yomi in the UK. Good morning, Yomi.
Thank you, Uncle Yori. This is the first time I'm going to get through to you.
Thank you very much for making the effort.
Thank you very much to your guests that have been making us happy, but I don't know why the federal government has been turning a deaf ear to all these callings. And the funniest thing is political allies. Now we're going to choose the president. And in some of the contributions we have that, they're going to sell the petroleum NNPC. And people are there listening to them. And they have somebody they are listening, Nigeria is listening to them, telling us that they're going to sell the NNPC. And they've already sold the Nigerian lights. We are not having lights anymore. And they are not making any progress. And now they want to NNPC once they become president of Nigeria. I think they're going to sell the country and sell everybody as well. And there's no progress. You can imagine what we are going through. And they are listening to all the educated ones and not about it. Nothing is done. Taking us to in that country.
Okay.
All of them visit abroad.
Well, okay, Yomi. Thank you very much for calling in. We did appreciate it, and also the fact that your first call, you've got through for the first time. We've run out of time.
Yes, sir.
But the much that we seem to have, heard right now is that we're yet to better understand this, because a lot of people, should I use the word unfortunately, are underwhelmed. Whereas on paper, it looks like this is a new lease of life.
That is why when you talk about there is perception and performance, we will always see the perception. But one thing that we know is this: leaders will always come from amongst us Nigerians. Okay. We are never going to import leaders. But Indeed. To be fair to Nigerian citizens, we have issues with energy crisis. Okay. We have issues with health, education, and the rest. But the next set of leaders that will come effective 2023, please, they should work in national interest.
Thank you very much, Engineer Bala Zakka. We appreciate you always.
Thank you,
that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.